SAUDICKA DIARAM Show.
Thank you so much for staying with us on our show this week. In this segment, we will be looking at a skin condition called vitiligo. And over the years, I think there has been an increase in awareness about this skin condition. In fact, a lot of cosmetic companies are now embracing this type of skin condition. Persons now think it's cool, but I'm sure it has not been like that for persons living with this condition over the years. So this week I'm joined by Shannon, and she will be discussing with me her journey with vitiligo and how she has coped and how she feels about what is happening now in the industry as it relates to vitiligo. Nice to have you, Shannon.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So how you feel about vitiligo now? Like everyone, I realize, is posting, tweeting, talking about it.
Right.
Just last year, CoverGirl used their very first vitiligo model. How
That's
does that
true.
make you feel as someone who's been living with this condition for quite some time?
Well, I'm excited for persons that have it and, find these opportunities. There is a myth, or there is a stigma attached to it. Jamaicans especially, were superstitious. They usually think you're cursed, or they say that something, you've done something when you actually have that is God. I've had a pastor tell me that is God, why your skin is like that.
Meaning
So,
what? God?
Meaning God probably did something to you because you did something, or Jamaicans superstitious. So I'm very happy for people like myself because we're normal people. The only thing that differs us from you or anybody else is our skin.
Right.
And it doesn't itch, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't hinder us from going about our day-to-day lives. So the fact that people think that, because you have vitiligo, you should be limited in some way, shape, or form is a little bit disheartening sometimes. But for me personally, like I've always told people, I cope fairly well in comparison to persons with the condition. So
What
yeah.
type of limitation they would put on you?
Well, for instance, you have Winnie Harlow and that new CoverGirl model as well. I'm sure before persons would not have considered persons with vitiligo for fashion modeling or any
Right.
other type of modeling. So because it's a cosmetic disease, I think people would exclude you from certain industries or certain fields because of how your
that.
skin looks. I like having it. I like being special. And it's really nothing. It's fun because sometimes you act like that's the pi sign.
Oh.
Or it could be a Hebrew sign for life,
Anything.
living or
So that's
life.
your tattoo, your personal
Yeah,
tattoo.
I've had Africa shape out. I have so many hearts on my legs.
So
and
they change it?
yeah,
They change?
yeah. So
Okay.
while you're actually changing, you get different shapes and things that come up sometimes on your skin. And for me, it's fun. Although it might be easy for me, I've met
sure.
a lot of persons that come to me, and because I'm so confident, they give me their stories.
Were you always this confident?
To think about, well, it's a progressive condition. So when I first had it, because I didn't always have it, so up until I was about 23 years old, I didn't have it. At 23, 22, I saw one spot on my elbow, my eyebrow. I'm like, look like liver spot. So then I went to the doctor and he's like, no, that's vitiligo. It's going to change. It might stop. It might not stop. But you might end up being white. So I said, white? Like, you mean, but I'm brown. So then how would I get white? He's like, no, just like how you see that little dot, you're going to have another little dot, or, you probably see that dot spreading into a bigger thing. And then I realized, well, okay, cool. But then, you didn't think it was going to change that quick or
Absolutely
anything.
not.
So you go home and you continue along in life and you see one coming up until you realize, oh, my leg has changed now, or, oh, well, it's spreading further up my arm. But I didn't think about it. To be honest, I've been around a lot of persons that were either ill. I've had friends that were paralyzed. I've had friends that have lupus. Just different things where I see where their affliction actually causes them to be in pain or just not to be able to move. And I'm a very grateful person. So then I was like, well, I can walk, I can see, I can hear. It doesn't itch, it doesn't do anything. So I learned to live with it. It didn't really bother me, like, to be honest, as you see, because like you have work, you have this, you have that, you're going about your life daily. You really don't remember sometimes that you even have it until you go out on the road and you see people staring and you're like, okay, well, yeah, that's why they're staring. So
Did you try to find out if there was any type of treatment for it? How can it be counter, you know?
well, to be honest, there is no cure, right? Just to be honest, there really is no cure. I've never tried to treat it, but I've been told about treatments that they do have.
I've heard of persons who have gone to Cuba.
Cuba actually, they're groundbreaking when it comes to vitiligo, because the types of treatment that they had before Cuba, they had like ultraviolet lights, you know, tablets that would affect people's liver, because you know, everything you take actually affects your liver. And they tried, Europe tried their thing, everybody tried, but you know, Cuba is very good when it comes to medicine. So what they use is a placenta, actually, the afterbirth from when you have a baby, and they put it in an alcoholic form, and you actually rub it on, from what I get to understand. And it does regenerate the melanin, which is the cell responsible for giving you the color. Well, I've known persons who have gone to Cuba, and they have returned with their full color. But I'm not really interested in treating mine.
I'm sure there's a community now in Jamaica where you guys talk about this thing or even support. So we're going to hear some more about the stories that you have been hearing right after this break. We're going to take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back.
SAUDICKA DIARAM Show.
I believe I can be anything I want to be. I can succeed in this reality with JMMB. Growth and security, the right solutions for me and all I need to know.
It's easy as JMMB.
For each and every goal, no place I'd rather start.
JMMB helps me grow
With my decisions at heart,
growth and security, the right solutions for me and all I need to know. It's easy as JMMB.
For a financial plan you can afford to live with, schedule your free no-obligation goal conversation and discover how the JMMB difference can work for you. Call 998-JMMB or text the word PLAN to 822-JMMB.
It's easy as JMMB.
Your best interest at heart.